for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, good evening and welcome to this week's episode of The Fireplace Show. The Fireplace Show is a show intended for consumers across America, and what we want to do is share things about your fireplace, your chimney, your gas logs, your wood stoves, other things, anything and any questions you have. And what we often do on here is we answer questions that consumers send us about findings that they have been alerted to in their chimney or their fireplace. In tonight's show, we're going to deal with a subject matter that many consumers find out that they have a chase and what's called a chase cover on top of this fake chimney that's out there on the side of their house. And inside of this chimney, what you have is you have a factory built chimney that's made out of wood. Now, this chase could be covered with any type of veneer material. We're going to show you some different styles tonight, and it could be brick, it could be stone, it could be siding, it could be vinyl, it could be aluminum, it could be hardy board siding. There's any number of things that the chase can be covered with. But these are appliances that have become in vast use across America in the last few decades. And the number of factory built fireplaces installed is increasing every year. In fact, if we go back into the 1940s, we'll find that the vast majority of chimneys and fireplaces were masonry. However, in a few years later, there were some developments that changed this. So stick around. We'll be right back with you in just a minute, and we'll get started with tonight's show. Well, I want to welcome you back, and I'm going to pull up some photos here, and I'm going to take myself down in the small screen, and I'm going to bring up some of my photos in the larger screen to kind of show you and demonstrate what we're talking about tonight. But the first thing I want you to be aware of is that fireplace and chimney maintenance is something that many people simply do not have done. In fact, in our estimates, less than 3% of American homes have ever had a chimney and fireplace professionally inspected and serviced by a certified technician. So there's a lot of problems out there. And these are things that you as a consumer need to be aware of if you have a fireplace or chimney system on your home. So tonight, our goal is to educate you somewhat about what a chase cover is, what a chase is, and different things. And we're going to show you some examples of this tonight. So we appreciate you being with us. And if you have any comments or questions you want to add, feel free to put them into the comment bar. Love to address them tonight. And if you have questions about your own chimney or your fireplace, you can email me at any time. You see my email address on the screen right now, and we'll be more than happy to address your questions on a future episode. So again, appreciate you being with us. Our show is sponsored by my company, CVC Success Group, and my name is Jerry Isenhour. I've been in this industry over 40 years. I've served in a lot of volunteer capacities in the industry, serving as president of trade associations, educational foundations. But today I work with my own company, which is CVC Success Group, and we work with chimney and hearth professionals across the United States, and we work with them in many, many ways. So hopefully tonight this will be something to really share some good information with you so you'll get educated about what's in your home if these are some of the things. And see, that's the first thing is so many people have never had their chimney checked. They've never had their fireplace checked. And that's something that if you have a fireplace, so you're aware, the National Fire Protection Association recommends that you have an annual inspection. And this is done and recommended to be done by what's called a qualified agency. And in the industry, we stress and recommend that you get a certified technician to come to your home, one that's been trained and has the skills in order to do this properly. So again, this is a big problem. 97% of American consumers and American homes have never had the chimney professionally checked or inspected. So let's talk about it tonight. And our subject matter tonight is the chimney chase and the chimney chase cover. And what you're looking at right now is an example of chase covers as are found across the United States. Often we find they are improperly made, they're rusted, they're deteriorated, and what they're doing is they're allowing water to get into the chimney chase. And these chimney chases are built out of framing members. Often this results in rot, mildew, premature deterioration, and it can also shorten the life of the fireplace and the chimney system that are located in the chase. So that's what's up on top of it. A lot of times we don't get up on the roof and see this for ourselves, but you can see this is a rusted chase cover. And why is it rusted up so bad? Well, it could be in a salt-laden environment near the beach, but predominantly you're going to find because it's the materials that it is made out of. You're also seeing a lot of improper things on this particular chimney chase. If you look, that chimney pipe is coming through the chase cover, and you can see that it has a roofing tar-like material spread around to seal up that gap, which is very improper. Actually, that gap should be there for air to come out, and a proper installation is going to call for what we call a storm collar. So what we have on a good chase cover is we have a standing collar, and then we have a storm collar above that that keeps the water from going down into it. See, the problem with this is when that pipe heats up, that pipe is going to get taller and shorter. It's going to expand, it's going to contract. And with a chase cover like this, what happens is when it goes up, it can break that seal between the chase cover and the chase and the chimney pipe, which is going to result in water getting into that chase. The chase cover is there to keep the chase dry. But here's your problem. When we go through and the building code standards that are in effect, there actually is no chase cover standard. In other words, codes and standards don't really state how to make a chase cover where it is watertight. And the vast majority of chase covers that are found in the United States on these chases, they're not watertight, and they don't provide adequate protection from water entry. And what you need to be aware of is water entry is probably the most deteriorating factor that your chimney system has to face. Water is a severe means of having corrosion, rot, mildew, and other things. But this is the problem. These chase covers are not built to be watertight. As you're looking, this is a chase that's made out of masonry materials. You can see that it is brick. Inside of this, we have the Class A factory-built chimney system coming up and going through. Now, on this particular chase, you can see that we do have a storm collar. But when we look at this, I want you to note where the brick projects out from the chase. And what this creates is little bitty ledges. So if the water comes down the chase from the chase cover, what's going to happen is that water is going to penetrate through those brick corbels. Corbels are what we call that projecting brick. That's a ledge out there. So what happens is when the water can rest and land on top of those brick ledges, what we call the corbels, what's going to happen is it's going to suck the water into the chase itself, and we're going to have deterioration and premature life expectancy is going to be shortened here. This is showing you a chase, which is very common. It's built out of framing materials, and you can see that it has siding on it. But let's take a really good look there. Do you see how that chase has deteriorated, where it's starting to fall apart? Now, what caused this? Because the rainwater got behind the chase cover, and it caused it to rot. Now, on the surface, it's probably been painted. But the problem is if the water can get behind those boards, this is what's often found in the field. And whenever you see this, many times this is going to turn into a fairly expensive repair because that chase needs to be replaced. We got to keep that chase dry. As we go through, you're going to see some of the problems from chases where water can get inside of them and create an issue. Now, this is a chase that you can actually see inside of this chase. So, what you're looking there is what the inside of the chase looks like. Now, again, if water can get into these framing materials, which commonly happens, what you're going to see is the chase itself is going to have a very, very shortened life. I've seen these things have to be replaced, believe it or not, in as short a time as 3 to 5 years. But if you've got a house that could be 20, 25, 30 years old with a chase like this on it, you could have some monumental problems at this point. Okay. And I appreciate it, Chimney Concepts, for joining me here tonight. Okay. Now you got some time on your hands. Glad to see you're here with me, brother. So, hey, there's a comment from us. Good one, Jerry. Now I have all this time on my hands. That's great. So anyway, let's keep bumping along through our show here. And that is a chase, just like you have on many houses that have been built in the last few decades. Okay. Now, whoops, wrong one. Let's get out of here. Sorry about that, folks. Got to get over back to my slide here. When you're dealing with two screens, sometimes your mouse don't want to cooperate right. So this is also a big, big problem. If you go on YouTube, the problem is you're going to see a lot of improper things on YouTube. YouTube is not the place to go for your expertise. My recommendation is to seek out a good company in your market area that can give you advice, can come to your home. What's the problem with this particular one? Well, this is what we call a homemade chimney. Here, a consumer has actually installed single wall stovepipe inside of this chase and has insulated with fiberglass insulation. This is definitely not a good installation that anybody should have in their homes. And from an expert point of view, this is scary, folks. And this is the kind of stuff that people do when they don't understand what they're dealing with out here. But see, when the water gets into the chase, this is what we find whenever we strip away that skin on the outside. We find mold, we find mildew, and all types of health risks. Now, why is this a health risk? Because many times the air is going to be pulled down through the chase, and then it's going to be pulled into the home through something that we call negative pressure. So here's the question I would ask you. If you were to sit on your fireplace hearth, do you feel cold air coming into your home? This is a really big factor. And this comes from what we call negative pressure in the home. But often in modern construction, we're going to find that the homes are under negative pressure and the air is going to be pulled down the chase. And if we have this mold, this mildew on the inside the chase, what's it going to do? It's going to pull that mold and mildew and the mold spores right into your home, which can create a very, very unsafe, unsanitary, and a bad air quality in your home. So what we're also concerned about in the chimney and venting industry today is we want to make healthy chimneys. We do not want chimneys that are going to cause people to have health issues and health risk in their home. Now I'm getting ready to show you a process here of how a better chase is put up onto a home. And what you're looking at here is what we call a Class A chimney system coming through a roof on a home. But this isn't real attractive. So a lot of times this is why we see those chases. So I'm going to show you a more modern chase that is rot proof, that's mold proof, and really does a great job. And here it is on the back of a truck. And this is a chase made by a company that I'm very familiar with by the name of IBD Outdoor Rooms. You can actually look them up on the internet. They are IBDODR.com. And on this chase, instead of it being built out of framing materials that would rot, we actually have a steel frame, and that frame is then covered with concrete board. So we have something that is non-combustible and it's also rot proof. So that steel chase, like you're looking at there, which is a welded frame, is installed like you're looking at surrounding that Class A chimney system. And then there's another section bolted to the top of it there. Now, I want you to notice towards the top of that chase where it actually steps out and gets wider. And the reason for that is so the water will not run down the chase, rather it will drip off of that drip edge, is that's what we call that. So this is a chase that is built by a company by the name of IBD Outdoor Rooms. It's invented a really neat chase system that people use. Then when the chase goes up, what does the installer does? He puts a veneer material on there. You can see that this is done with thin set brick. So what it's done, it's giving you the look of a brick chase without the weight of the masonry materials on the roof. You see it's properly flashed. If you look, the chase cover is overhanging the chase. And that's one of the things you want to be looking for. If you look at your chase and you see streaks coming down it, that means that water's coming down and it can penetrate into the chase. That is a shot looking inside of that IBD chase, shows you how the framework is made. Again, it is non-combustible. It doesn't burn. It is rot proof. It's going to last. In fact, the concrete board that's used is hardy board, and hardy board has been tested underwater for periods of 20 to 25 years to simulate what it's going to face in the field. So tell your installer if you need a new chase, maybe they need to look up the IPD Quick Chase is what this is called, and they're manufactured in Concord, North Carolina. Know the owner very, very well of this particular company. So again, look at this chase right here. This isn't an IBD chase. Look at how you're seeing the staining up at the top edges coming off of the chase cover. And this is one of the things that you as a consumer can look for, because whenever you see darkened staining like that, this is telling you there is water present and we have the potential for deterioration. So if you go outside tomorrow morning and look at your chase on your home and you see any darkened staining like this, my suggestion is it's time to get your chimney inspected. Remember, this is something that the National Fire Protection Association recommends to have done on an annual basis. So if you hadn't had it done in the last year, it's due. And if you see this kind of staining on there, folks, it means you got problems. You need to get a skilled technician who's certified to check this boy out. You see, that's what you find inside of the chases. Whenever the chase cover is removed, often you're going to find rotted wood laying right inside of that chase. And again, if the air were to pull down into your home through this is going to pick up the mold spores and take them right into your home. Again, we told you a couple things to look for. If you sit in front of your fireplace and you feel cold air coming into the room, you got a problem. If you see discoloration on your chimney, on your chase, it's telling you you got a problem and it's time to get it checked out before the damage gets worse and you have to have more expensive repairs done to the situation. This is looking inside of a chase, looking up, and you can see where the red arrows are pointing where the mold and mildew are building up in the corner. Again, this is going to shorten the life of those materials. It's also going to cause the air quality in your home is going to suffer from this. So get an inspection, get these things checked out so you don't have any long-term health risks to your home. Okay. So many times we've had installation processes that have been developed by some people in the industry that are not in the best interest of the consumer. Many times we find installation defects that were done by builders or uneducated installers. This is the world that we operate in. So again, it goes back to that classic advice I've given you already. Get the chimney inspected, get the fireplace inspected, get it done by a certified technician. And there's all types of tooling that they're going to have to be able to inspect the interior of your chimney, your chases, and all the other things. When you're looking at this is a drawing of a masonry chimney, but I want you to look at how the crown, this is the concrete material at the top of the chimney. And if you'll notice the concrete material, the crown overhangs the edges of the chimney itself. And why do we do this? So the water runs off the chimney, not down the chimney. If the water can come directly down the chimney, it's going to be able to penetrate to the interior of the chimney. Again, what's your key thing to look for as a consumer? And this can be viewed from the ground. Do you have discoloration on the outside of your chimney? Is it turning white? Is it turning black? The white is what we call effervescence. And effervescence is where the water is getting into the masonry materials themselves and flooding out the salts and the minerals that are in the brick, and it shows up on the outside the chimney as a white residue. That's called effervescence. The darkened staining that you're seeing, that's an example of water being retained within the masonry materials, and that is also a big issue there that can cause premature deterioration. So again, we're showing you here a couple different chases you can see made out of different things there. And if you look at the one in your upper left-hand corner, I want you to notice how you've got the overhanging drip edge, like I've talked about, where the water, when it comes off the chase cover, instead of running down the chase, what it's going to do is going to run off the chase and not saturate the side of that chase. If you look with the one right under it, you can see where we've got a deteriorated chase cover, where we've got rusting, we've got staining, all of those kind of things. Okay, there's a closer view of that same chase cover, and see, this is the problem. It is all over America. But if you look real closely at that, you can see where that staining is actually running down the sides of the chimney. So, hey, here's the easy thing. Walk outside in the daylight. Take a look at your chimney. Take a look at your chimney chase. If you see that there is staining, that's telling you you got a problem. Get somebody in to check this situation out for you, really. That's the chase cover right there. And you can see that we have a raised up collar. That's where the pipe would come through that collar. And as it comes through the collar, it's going to come on out. Then we're going to have what's called a storm collar around that, that's going to weather seal that gap between the chase cover collar and the factory built chimney system itself. And chase covers can be easily replaced. And like I said, you were looking for the following. You want to get your chase, you want to make it watertight. You don't want water to get into that chase system itself. You've also got to be worried. Some factory built fireplaces require that the chase cover be ventilated. In other words, air needs to flow up under it. So to review what we've talked about tonight, I'm going to take my screen off the screen share here. To review the things that we've talked about tonight is chimneys need to be inspected. The National Fire Protection Association recommends that your chimney and fireplaces, all of them, be inspected on an annual basis. Who do they recommend to do it? A qualified agency. We recommend that you look up and find technicians that are certified in your local market area to come out and do that. Other things to be thinking about: if you sit on your fireplace hearth and you feel cold air coming down around that fireplace or through that fireplace, this is telling you you've got a pressure issue in your home, and this could be affecting the air quality in your home. And you may need to run testing on the house, because this could be escalating your utility bills, running up your fuel costs. It also could be affecting the air quality in your home, and it could serve to make some people sick in your home. Other things we talked about to look at on your chimney and your chase tonight is look for staining. Remember, if you see white staining, this is called effervescence, and this is where the water is getting into the masonry materials, and then they are flushed out to the surface of the masonry, leaving a whitish residue on the chimney itself. If you're seeing darkened staining, this is mold, this is mildew. This is examples of where the water is being retained in the masonry materials themselves. Remember that if the water can get into your chase, we talked about the mold and the mildew issues that this causes. So you want to get it checked out. So anyway, if you have questions on your chimney, on your fireplace, my email address is on the screen in front of you right now. Feel free to reach out to me. I would love to be able to answer your questions on here. And I got a comment here. Good evening, Jerry. We use the fireplace insert to do much of the winter heating, fueled by wood of fallen trees we were allowed to remove, provided we didn't cut down any trees or dig in any mounds. This is when we lived in Clayton, North Carolina. And Clayton's down there, Raleigh, North Carolina. So, Robert, appreciate you could join me tonight. Appreciate you adding that in to us. So, again, this is Jerry Isenhour. My company is CVC Success Group. And what we do not service consumers. I don't sell you anything. There is no self-interest in this show. What we do is we create this show so we can help educate the consumers just like you across America and answer any questions that you may have about your fireplace, your wood stove, your gas log, your factory built fireplace. And we appreciate you looking us up. And if you'd like to see our library of past episodes, they are actually on our website. It is cvcsuccessgroup.com. Just click on our podcast and you'll find the past episodes of the Fireplace Show. So tune us in the future. Robert, I appreciate you being here and thank you a lot. That's the whole purpose of what I do here, Robert, is I want to share information with consumers across America to help them and avoid issues in their home. So folks, appreciate you listening in tonight. If we can answer any questions for you, you've got my email address right there. I love to hear from you. Just reach out to me with your questions and maybe you'll hear us answer your questions here on a future episode of the Fireplace Show. And with that, we're going to wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening. And again, I want to thank you. It's been an honor, it's been a privilege, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you tonight from this broadcast medium. Talk to you next time on a future episode of the Fireplace Show.